Welcome everybody. Let's look at the market. We'll first start with the Dow Jones Transportation dollar DJT here, and we just want to look at this kind of as a gauge to see where other indices may go. And I talked about this recently, that a lot of times the transportation will be the first thing that shows weakness in the market. Now you can see it's been pretty weak here for quite a while. Today is a pretty big green day, so there's a little bit of strength there. It looks like to me, let's zoom in here just a little bit. These are some pretty good cycles going on here. You got one right here, another one there. One came all the way down into here, and then you got this one that came all the way down into here. There's big lower wicks down here. So it looks like July 30th, there may be a little cycle like right in between here. There's a smaller cycle that's been running in here like every 20 days. And then I noticed it kind of switched over here in this big cycle to like 15 days. But I'm not going to monkey with the little tiny cycles. So there could be a little cycle in here, a little dip first. But it looks like July 30th is the next cycle low for the DJT. Okay. But right now, this is on the upswing. Probably going to run out of gas up here is my guess eventually and roll over. Momentum is still negative, but it's trying to go positive here, but it's nowhere near it yet. So for now, the Dow Jones Transportation is still negative, and I do think we'll get a bounce here. Not sure it's going to be enough to get the whole thing into positive momentum. We might just get something like this, where just the blue line goes into positive momentum, but the vanilla line stays negative, and the whole thing basically just stays negative. That's my guess is what's going to happen here. There's a lot of cycle lows for the second week of July, and then another one out at the end of July. There are a lot of tight cycles coming together in the month of July, so are synchronized cycles. So I'm not surprised to see this cycle being forecasted out here for the end of July for the DJT. I think that's going to happen across quite a few products. Okay, so right for now, even though today was a strong day for the transportation, it may not be able to go too much longer here. Probably might do one of these deals, get up here like this, and then begin to fail. Okay, let's take a look at the Russell 2000. Right now we're just looking at indexes and not futures. Okay. So I noticed today, as I was, we'll look at some profits that I made too on the Russell 2000 futures. But before we get to that, I wanted to show this. I noticed that the momentum has stayed negative, and it's kind of re-engaged going negative. It was thinking about crossing over going up, but today, the last 2 or 3 days, has kind of reconfirmed that this momentum is going to probably continue to go negative. You can see it's starting to widen out again, and I think it's going to go further down. On the daily chart, and the SMI looks really just like it's got nothing in it. Still kind of down here at the bottom. I don't think you're going to get much of a pop here. I don't think we're going to see too much of a pop. Now the next maybe like 2 or 3 sessions, we could get a little more up into here. This might come up a little bit, and then a drop down into like the first week of July. Today's June 26th. So there's a few days in here it could still pop, do a last little pop here, and then I think we'll get a drop. Do I think 1985 can happen on the index? Yeah, I think it can happen. We're looking at what, 18, 15, about 33 points from where we're at right now. Like I said, it might get a little bit higher here. I'm not going to show the 2-hour directional chart because that's for members, but just kind of a hint that looks like there could be a little pop on that, on the Russell 2000 for the RUT first. All right, so that's kind of my feel for the indices that have been a little bit weak, and often, like I said, can be a forecast for the other indices. We'll take a look at the S&P 500 here in a moment, but the S&P 500, you know, let's let's go look at that right now. We're going to look at the futures. And that's hourly, so we got to switch over to daily. And the S&P 500 has just been pretty strong. Now the last, look what do we got here? 5 days, it's kind of come down here a little bit. But you can see it's not, at the moment anyway, it's not much of a pullback at all, right? The SMI is trying to come down. Momentum is still very strong. Look at this momentum. It's crazy how strong it is. Way up here, way above the zero line. So momentum on the S&P 500 is extremely strong. It's continuing to stay strong here. So we might not see much here. Not surprised to see right in the middle of this cycle, just little weakness. If you look over in this cycle way over here, you can see weakness start creeping in right in the middle. This is a very ideal cycle, by the way. Up and then straight down. That's like the most ideal cycle you could get is a peak right in the middle. We get to this one, you know, you can see it was pretty weak on the left side, but then it just took off, right? Very bullish cycle here. Bam, boom, to the moon. And then at the end of the cycle, it just had a little tiny dip, right? Very strong as momentum over here, got above the zero line and just went to the moon. So momentum is still very strong here, 73. Let's see, let me go back. It's been as high as 90. So 73 is not extremely high. Though over here it got to like 72 and ran out of gas. Okay. So July 11th is the cycle low there. We'll see, does this really push down? It probably will, but you might just get that. Right? You might just get this little dip like this. You know, this was, I think I calculated the other day, it's like 160 points. This might be all we get here. Not really sure yet. You know, the S&P 500 probably will have a dip coming into like this July 11th cycle low. But I don't, at the moment, there's not really a sign of it being super strong. But there's a little bit of time left here for this still to pull back pretty hard. So we're going to let it develop and do its thing. Either way, we're going to trade it. But for the moment, just looking at this daily chart, yeah, there's a little bit of weakness in the S&P 500 here. It's not super weak, just a little small bit of weakness. It's trying to bounce again here. Maybe something like this, whatever. I don't even know if it'll come down to 5,400. Yeah, I mean, it might do that, right? It might come back down, just fill this gap. Regardless of what it does, if it just does the shallow thing like that, then this next cycle will probably be really strong. Except we do have something, what is this? August 21st, okay. There's probably another cycle in here, somewhere in here, like at the end of July. There's probably a big cycle coming down over here, somewhere like this. I just don't have it in here. It's probably like right in this area, right in the middle of this. Because almost all these products have a really synchronized bigger cycle over here and end of July. Can't really see it very well here because it's so bullish, but it could be there. I'm not going to try to sort it out right now. I'm going to let it just run its course. So that's the daily. Not much has changed on the weekly. Of course, members every night in the nightly email get all 5 charts. They get the daily and the weekly S&P 500. They get the 3 indices, 2-hour directional chart, which is really nice. So they get 5 charts total. If you want to become a member, stick around to the end of the video and I'll show you how to do that. Okay. All right, let's look and see where were the trades of the day on intraday charts for the S&P 500. All right, so this is the 5-minute chart. And I talk about this all the time to members. If you're going to, if you want to catch some good trades, especially when the market's volatile, you know, being up at really, really early in the morning or late at night, in this case, super early in the morning can really pay, and I do mean pay, can pay huge. We're going to look at 2 different trades. Actually, there's 3 trades on here, which is just like amazing. One of them's kind of risky. The other 2 are pretty straightforward. The first one is way over here. Happened at 4:55 a.m. Look at this trade. My goodness. Get us plus indicator popped up the signal and said, hey, I think there's a trade here. And bam, look at this smoking hot trade. Wow. All the way from, we'll just do the, you know how we do it here, guys. We're just going to do the block. We're just going to say we didn't catch the very best entry, and we came down here and got out a little above these tails. Well, heck, we'll even be conservative and say we got out right in here, which would be about 55.23, we'll call it, right? So from 40 to 23, I think is 17 points, right? 17-point run. Oh my goodness, huge. Okay, of course, the morning little opening bell, you know, there was this run up. I mean, there's no signal there. If you want to trade those kind of things, you can. I don't always think they're reliable, but some, you know, obviously momentum got going here and it took off. But the better of the trades is this one right here. The get us plus indicator comes in. I wouldn't say it's better. I'm not going to say better, but it is a trade and it's a very strong signal. And that one happened at 10:55. And look at this, guys. Look at this, way up here. And bam, bam, it starts to roll over. This thing comes all the way down. So probably reasonable to maybe not catch all that. I'll say 55.37 down to maybe 30. Yeah, I think you could do 30. So this is 7 points. We'll put a 7 here. 17 and 7 so far. And check this out. Now this very last one is really sketchy. This is after the futures closed. Well, it was 2:50 in the afternoon. Very, you know, this is a hard trade. I wouldn't trade this. You got a big upper wick, then a big lower wick. This is like, you know, spazzy stuff. But a lot of people might miss this trade right here. Look at this. Get us plus indicator pops up right here at 2:15. Long side trade. See, guys, it isn't always short. I know some of you thinking, oh, get us plus only does shorts. No, that's not true. Right here, it nailed a long side trade. Look at this. Bam. Perfect. Starts curling up. You take the trade. Whammo. Nice, solid, probably a good solid 5 points, maybe 6. We'll just be conservative here and say 5 points. This block from here, from right there to right there, without doing the tail and the very tippy up there, we'll call it 5-point trade. Now take a look at these trades. This is 29 total points for the day. 3 really good 1, 2, 3 trades of the day. I mean, solid trades, guys, not maybe trades or gosh, do I get in here? I'm not sure what to do trades, right? These are just solid, gonna make some bank trades, right? 29 points. You all know how to do the math now, right? Everybody's been watching this video. What we do is we just put a $ in front of this and add 2 zeros. If you're trading the futures, 2 of these E-minis, which is the product we're looking at right here, this guy, ES, that'd be 2,900. Okay, if you can't afford that and you want to do a one-timer, then we know this is what, $1,450, correct? 28 plus another, and then 250 makes 29, right? So that's $1,450 for one E-mini for the day. And I'm talking, these are easy trades. These are easy trades. These aren't like complicated trades. And then if you're trading micro products, well, for one E-micro, $145, supposed to be a dot. And for 2 micros is $290. Okay, so go over the CME site and check out E-micros for those that have E-micro S&P 500 futures, for those that have really small accounts. For those that, and while you're there, you can look at the E-mini to see the specs on that. All right, well, there you go, guys. On decent size account, you made $1,400 today. A little bit bigger account, you made $2,900. And there's some people that probably trade 3 and 4 timers today, right? So you would just take this number and multiply by whatever number of contracts they had. There might be some people that made $4,000 or $5,000 today easily trading this. Okay. And then for the small retail accounts, might be you know, maybe you took 3 or 4 micro contracts instead of just 1 or 2, right? Then you just whatever you're looking at, $600-$700, whatever it is. Okay. All right. So how much does it cost to trade in margin? Pretty expensive, $17,721 to hold one contract. Yeah, it's crazy. I personally think it's a bunch of BS that they want you to have this much in your account and more for just to hold that contract. Now, they don't take that money away from you, but think of it this way: they temporarily hold that money against your account. It's called margin, and then when you close the position, you get the 17.7 back. Okay, I think it's BS that they keep raising these initial margin requirements. It's ridiculous. I've always said the market's a contrived place, and so are the initial margin requirements. For micros, I don't normally do this, but if we go to micros, there it is, 1/10. So for you guys and gals that have smaller accounts, there you go. You can trade the micro, $1,700. Okay, so the initial margin on that is 1/10 the size. And since we're here, I'm trying to remember. Oh God, is it in MNQ? I don't know what the micro NASDAQ. I don't trade this product myself. Look how much more expensive the NASDAQ is. Almost $2,600. That's why I don't trade the NASDAQ. Their initial margin is just crazy. It's even higher than the S&P. It's just not an efficient way to use your money. The most efficient, of course, is the Russell 2000. If you look at the Russell 2000, since we're on this subject matter, look at that. It's only $8,100. Okay. Now, the tick value is probably less, but whatever. Okay, you got to do the math. And I don't remember I think that's M2K, some weird thing like that. Yeah, M2K. So the micro on the Russell 2000 is M2K, and it's $818. So there's a pretty cheap. If you want to trade futures, you want to trade the Russell 2000, which has been consistently going down, and you can short futures, guys, just as easy as you can long them. Okay, so it makes no difference. Margin is margin. So that's a pretty cheap product to trade if you want to get your feet wet in trading an index futures, right? Futures on an index, or index futures, as they say. Okay, so that's pretty cool. Let's take a look now at. Let me switch this back to ES because I'll probably have to deal with this later for other charts. So anyway, on the E-mini S&P 500 and the micro for that matter, we saw 3 different trades of the day: bang, bang, and bang, which totaled whatever it was, $2,800, $1,450 on one E-mini, and divide by 10 if you want to do micros, right? Really super nice. Let's take a look at a trade I did and some profits I made today. Okay, here's me trading the Russell 2000 futures, taking advantage of the 2-hour chart, by the way. So for those people that are members, pay attention to those 2-hour directional charts. They get sent out every night in email because I used them today. Right, I looked at the Russell 2000 called the root, whatever, RUT, used the directional 2-hour chart, continues to be negative. It's in the red, as we like to say. And I used the futures, the Russell 2000 futures, to actually make the trade, right? Because you can't trade the Russell 2000 index directly. You can either use futures or options to trade it, right? So I used the futures and I made $510. Sweet, right? And there you go. And you can see here on the futures, this is the 2-hour chart we're looking at right here, right? And you can see it's gone into negative territory. Okay, I think the Russell 2000 might have a little bounce here on the index. We're not looking at the index here, but the index, I think we'll see a little bounce. Maybe it's like a 2 or 3 day, 2-3 sessions or 2-3 days worth of bounce, and then a big hard pullback. Okay, or it could pull back right away. You see how this? I want to show you something there. This is something you got to be paying attention to. Okay, this is the SMI, right? Stochastic Momentum Index. And when you see things like this, where this comes up and peaks here below the red line, that's a sign of weakness. That's a very bearish occurrence. And sure enough, the market gave it up, right? Bam. That's where I made my money, in this area. That's bearish. I know right away that's a bearish signal. In contrast, when we get something like this that comes up and gets above the red line, okay, that's a pretty typical kind of common cyclical kind of movement to a product In this case, the Russell 2000, right? That's, I wouldn't say, is more bullish anyway than this over here. Here it is again, right? Up and then down. Look at this one. Fail. Right? So this little dip here, right? When you see that rolling over early, okay, that's usually bearish. Look, it happened over here too. See how the peak only got halfway up and it gave it up strong. Now, right now, the reason I wouldn't trade long is because the 2-hour directional chart is telling us things are going down. Right? So for members, the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, they're green. They're still pointing up green, but the Russell 2000 is pointing down. So I'm just taking short side trades, right? That's all I'm doing. I just wait for the thing to peak and take short side trades over and over and over again. Right? Wash, rinse, repeat. Got it? So this just a little, I don't want to say a pro tip, be silly, but this is just a little, 101 here. When you see the SMI peak below the top line like that, that's a bearish indication. And you really got to pay attention to momentum. I use the MACD for momentum, right? This is really awesome, right? It has the difference in here. That's the green and red showing you difference, giving you kind of a sense of the tendency of what momentum's going to do. And then you got the lines that show you whether or not it plays out over a longer period of time, and what's the distance between the lines is really important. You see how we got this big gap in here? That's really important to understand that. That big gap is very negative right now. It's like a very negative occurrence. Just as this was very positive, look at this huge gap. That means momentum is really taking off upward when it gaps like that, right? It's going up. It's, very positive. Now the momentum was still, in this case, below zero, so you gotta be careful. It's still negative momentum, but it's taken off like a rocket ship with this big gap. That's very informational. Look at the price that just went to the moon. Okay, so here we are, negative momentum, and my instincts tell me we're either going to see this continue to do this. Okay, I took the screenshot a little bit earlier today. There was a little bounce in here since then, but this is probably going to continue. Even we might get a little bounce in there, like I said, for 2 or 3 sessions, and then I think bam, boomy, the Russell 2000 is going to have a big collapse going into the first week of July. I mean, a fairly decent, sizable, I shouldn't call it collapse, but I think 20 to 30 points is going to happen in a decline. And that's a nice opportunity for a swing trade, which is what I'll probably do if this plays out the way I think it's going to. Okay, so those are my profits for today, a little over $500. Super, super nice. All right, you want to become a member? That's great. There is a discord.com link in the description of this video, and also it's in the first comment pinned to the top in the comment section below the video. Click on that. Make sure you read the instructions first, then click on the discord.com link. It's going to bring you to get a server, then click on server shop. It's going to bring you to this page here. $7.99, guys. Okay, I honestly believe if you're patient, the membership's going to more than pay for itself. The streaming charts, which we looked at them today on the trades of the day, the 5-minute chart, there's a 15-minute and a 1-hour chart, they're down here. Just click on that, you get the streaming charts 5 days a week. When you join, just ask me, get us in the member chat for the streaming charts for gold, and I'll give you that. Also ask me for the new members video, and I'll give you the link for it. Really helpful video to help you get started in the right direction. Okay. Every night emails go out. Okay, so make sure you put your email address in there. You're going to get the 5 charts I talked about earlier, the daily, the weekly S&P 500 charts. Then you're going to get the 3 2-hour directional charts that really help. They've really helped me in the last 2 or 3 weeks since I put them up to stay in a trade and stay with the direction which the market or whatever product I'm trading. In this case, I've been trading the Russell 2000. It helps me stay with that index and just stay in the trade, right? And I know that I can watch the SMI on the 2-hour chart. I know when to get in. I do my short side trading because the Russell 2000 is going down. Okay, but you get those 5 charts, which is all 3 indexes have a 2-hour directional chart in addition to the daily and weekly S&P 500 chart that goes on that email. Really nice email every night. Super helpful charts. And then I usually give a couple sentences about what I think the market's going to do the next day. So make sure you put your email address in there. All right, premium symbols every day go into here. You might want to look at those. Really super helpful. I noticed crude oil and gasoline futures are in here. So there's definitely something going on with crude oil. Might see a pop there or even a big pullback. Not sure, but either way, you should look at those symbols. There's optional stocks in there, and there's some industries in there and some shorts in there. Okay. Alerts, that Giddus Plus indicator that we looked at today for the trades of the day, those get sent as alerts. So for the S&P 500 streaming charts, the alerts get sent over here. Really nice. So you can just right click on this and turn notifications on, and you'll get the alerts straight to your Discord app. You can do the same thing with gold. Okay, like I said, I have 1 or 2 members that trade gold almost every day. They're always watching gold. They make use of the cycles. I have on the hourly chart that's streamed, which is one of the 3 charts that get streamed, the 5 minutes, the 15 minute, the 1 hour. On gold and the S&P 500, there's cycles on there. I draw the cycles on those charts live. And gold and the S&P 500 both nailed their hourly cycles today, right on the button. Gold had a huge pullback. So if you want to trade gold, I mean, it's been like clockwork on gold. The cycles have been banging. So there you go, gold. All right, fixed income, I do trade corporate bonds. I take my profits like you saw today. If I have enough profit stacked up, sometimes I might pull it out and pay bills and whatever, pay myself. Sometimes I buy corporate bonds. If I do, I'll do it here. And corporate bonds generate me some nice income. And those are investments that I buy and hold. So you got to know the differences between trading and investing. You use your trading to help you buy investments. That's what people should be doing. Instead of just churning money back into their account and then they lose it and then they get upset and then they repeat the pattern over and over. Got to break that nasty pattern. Put that money to work for you. All right, so there's a lot going on here and a lot available for $7.99. It's an extremely good value. Last thing we're going to talk about is the rules. Make sure you read the rules, guys and gals. And here is the refund rules. There's a disclaimer that I'm not a financial advisor in there. Everything on this server, no matter who's saying it, me or anybody else, is strictly educational purposes only. No financial advice is implied whatsoever, because you got to be responsible is what I want to say for your own trading, right? This service is going to help you become a better trader and make some bank if you're patient and use it the way it should be used. Okay, right? But you're responsible for your own trades. And lastly in there, be nice, be respectful on the server. Don't come in here and start trolling. Don't bring your garbage and your junk and your nasty attitude in here. I'm not going to tolerate it. I'll delete your content, your posts. And if you're really trolling and being a jerk, you're going to get kicked or banned. All right, so don't do that. Just come in, use the service, be nice, make some bank. All right. That's pretty much it. Happy trading, everybody. Hope everybody had an awesome day. I think there's going to be a lot more opportunities in whatever products we trade. I think the first week of July and the very end of July are going to be pretty hot spots for pullbacks in a lot of these products. So keep an eye on that. Happy trading, everybody. God bless everybody. Talk to you all real soon again next time.